Hey everyone, this is Jillian Graham again with another tutorial, and this one is going to be on using a transparent shape over your Google slide versus just using the master slide. So if you are new to my channel, I moderate a group, Bitmoji Craze for Educators, and this question comes up at least once a day, and that's just the post that I'm seeing. Um, so I thought I would just compare the two so that you know the difference and know what you need to do, so you're not wasting your time putting transparent shapes all over your slide when it is completely unnecessary. So the two questions that I see a lot are, why do people keep telling me to put a transparent shape over my slide? And how do I keep people or kids from moving my stuff on my Google Slides once you've created your presentation? So I'm going to go through why you would put a transparent shape, how to do that, and then how to create your background in your master slide so you don't use or don't lose image quality, and it just makes it overall so much easier um, than saving a snip of the slide and then inserting it as the background image. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so this presentation might look familiar. This was shared in our Bitmoji Craze for Educators group by Sarah Anderson, and I used it in another tutorial I did on sharing Google Slides with students, looking at forced preview and publish to the web and how links and GIFs work with all of that. So this time I'm going to use it to show you the transparent shape and why you would use it when you don't need to use it because you can do something else, etc. So in her presentation, let me just show you how she has it set up right now. All of her other slides are skipped, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But what that allows her to do is she basically has this home slide, and this home slide links to all of the other skipped slides. So if I click on present and I just click anywhere that's not hyperlinked, so like down here, okay, if I click, it doesn't go anywhere because there's no other slides to go to. The rest of the slides have been skipped. If those other slides weren't skipped, this would just click through the presentation like a normal presentation, the slideshow works. You click and it goes to the next slide. But she didn't want that to happen because she has specific places that she wants students to click. So for instance, if they click on this calendar, it takes them to that particular slide, and then they have to click here to go back to the virtual classroom. So she's really controlling how they move through the presentation. Now, the only thing about this is I can't use the arrows currently to get to different slides. I can use this bar to get to any slide I wanted to. So I still could move around this any way I wanted to as a student. There is a way to hide this bar so then they wouldn't be able to move to any slide that they wanted to. And I have that in another video on my YouTube channel. But but just by skipping all of these slides, she's controlling how they move from slide to slide. Now, one other issue with this is that once I move, so even if this bar was hidden, we'll just pretend that bar is hidden. If I move to a skipped slide, as a student, I can now use my arrows to get to all of the other slides. So my fix for that is to a place your home slide in between each slide. So if I just duplicate this slide and move it in between each one, each of the skipped slides, what that's going to do is stop kids from moving from one skipped slide to another. So if I'm on a skipped slide, I can use the arrows, right? But then if the next slide is just my home slide, they're going to get stuck right there. They can still move backwards through the links or through the slides, but they can't move forward once they're on a slide that has been skipped. So it just kind of stops them from getting ahead of themselves. Okay. So there's still, you know, some limitation with that in that they can still move backwards through the slide, but at least they can't move forward if that helps you control your presentation and have them move through it how you want them to. So to do this without skipped slides, so let me unskip this. And let me go back. Let's just delete this. And unskip this. So if you want to skip a slide, you just right click on it and then click skip slide. Okay, it's that easy. Okay, so now to achieve basically the same thing, but having no skipped slides. So if you didn't want to have any skipped slides for some reason, but you still wanted to control how they went through the presentation, then you could use a transparent shape. So to create a transparent shape of your slide, you're just going to click on the shape tool right here, and we're going to use a rectangle, and we're going to cover our entire slide with a rectangle. All right. And then what I'm going to do is, before I make this transparent, I'm going to go ahead and link it to the slide that I'm on. Right? So when I click on any place that's not hyperlinked, I want them to stay on the slide. I don't want it to go to the next slide. So I'm going to link this to slides in this presentation. I'm going to scroll down to slide 1 since I'm on slide 1. Okay. Now I'm going to send this all the way to the back. So I can click Control Shift down a bunch of times, or I can right click on it, go to Order, and then send to the back. That way all my other hyperlinks are on top. So you can see the only thing I can't see is my background image, because that's in the background and you can't put anything behind that. All right, now here's the real pain in the butt thing about doing this. If you do the transparent shape at the beginning and you know that that's what you're going to do, then it's not such a pain. But I still think that just skipping the slides so that it doesn't click to the next slide is the best solution. Because I have my transparent shape, right? I'm going to make it transparent in just a second. But anything that's not hyperlinked needs to be behind that transparent shape. Otherwise, when they click, like on this chair, for example, this chair is not linked. So when they click on the chair, it's just going to take them to the next slide. So now I have to go through each of these objects, and I'm going to have to Control Shift down anything that's not linked and put it behind. So that one's linked. I don't want to move that. But the table, this, he doesn't go anywhere. Everything else has to go behind my, anything that's not hyperlinked has to go behind my shape. This is hyperlinked. Should be, yep, that's hyperlinked. This is not, so it's going to go behind. The bookshelf is not. So I'm just Control Shift down on each one. You can also right click. These are both hyperlinked. This is hyperlinked. So I want to, those aren't hyperlinked. Oh, the little tiny boat is though. Okay. So everything, I'm just doing Control Shift down. Now, if you don't want to use the keyboard shortcuts, again, you can right click, Order, Send to Back. I just prefer the shortcuts, the keyboard shortcut. So anything that has a link, I'm going to leave. And if it doesn't have a link, I'm going to move to the back. Okay, that should be fine because this has a transparent shape over it. All right, so one more thing. So now everything on top of my, oh, this didn't make it. Everything on top of my soon-to-be transparent slide is hyperlinked to somewhere else. So now everything they click on, if they click in this area, it goes to slide 1. If they click here, it goes to whatever slide that goes to the calendar slide, slide 3. Some of these go to different other places. Okay. So now I'm going to make my slide transparent, make the outline transparent. So I just clicked on the fill color bucket, right? It was gray. Clicked here, click transparent, click on outline, also click transparent because you don't want a black outline around your slide. All right, so now let's take a look. And my things are all messed up now. Okay, so I just had to redo some of the ordering behind my transparent slide real quick, which is why it's a good idea to decide if you're going to do the skip slide or you're going to do transparent slide so you don't have to redo everything. But it was just a couple quick little clicks. So now if I hit present, if I click anywhere on here in what was the gray area where my transparent shape is, it is not going to take me anywhere. If I click on her, if I click on the chair, it doesn't take me anywhere. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is that my cursor is a pointer hand the entire time. So it makes it harder for kids to find where the links are going to be, like on that cup. That cup was a link, a hyperlink to another slide. In the skipped slide version, it was a lot easier to see where the links were because your hand, your pointer turns to this little hand guy. Don't ask me what it's called. Your cursor changes when you're actually on a link. So that's another reason why the transparent shape over your entire slide, it's really not necessary. I'll show you another option that makes it convenient to use when you would actually use a transparent shape. But most of the time, putting a transparent shape over your slide just causes more problems than it fixes. So again, the first version I showed you where you skip these slides, that actually prevents kids from moving to the next slide when they just click. Okay, so I am going to go back to that. I'm going to delete my transparent shape. Okay, I'm going to skip these again. And let me show you how you could, another way to use a transparent shape. So let's say you had an image of something and you just wanted one particular place of that image to link to somewhere else. So for instance, let's say, this one doesn't really, all of these are images, but let's just say that in the background right here, maybe in your actual background picture. Actually, I think there's something back here. Let's do this. Yeah, okay, so this is not an image. This is actually part of the background image. So I can't, like on an image, you could just hyperlink the image. But if I want to hyperlink this, or if you want to hyperlink just part of a particular image, that's where a transparent shape really comes in handy. So I can put a shape over this in the background, which is currently not hyperlinked, and I have no way of hyperlinking it. But let's say I wanted that to link to another slide or a YouTube video on succulents or something. I can take the transparent shape, it's on top of that now, make it transparent, it's linked to another slide. So now when they click on it, see how my hand changed. So here, nothing's hyperlinked. I just have the normal pointer. Here, that indicates there's a hyperlink and I can click that to go to somewhere else. And this is just slide 5. Okay. So that is where transparent shapes really come in handy when you want to link something that is not a separate image, or if you just want to link part of an image to another slide or website or outside link or whatever. Okay. Now, let's talk about working in the master slide. So I'm going to go to a different presentation. Give me a second. Okay, so this is a drag and drop activity that I created for my students on quadratics. And the only thing that I want them to be able to move are these pieces here. I don't want them to be able to click on or move any of this stuff. Now, a lot of people will tell you take a snip of this. Like if I delete these out here, snip this, right? Create an image of it, blah, blah, blah. Nope, come on. Oh, there it goes. I'll save it. Okay, let me just do it on a separate slide. Oh, I already have my layout done, so I gotta redo this. Hold on. Let's just do blank. All right, layout or background. I'm gonna change the background. So you snip it, right? You choose the image, you replace it, you put that image, you get everything set that you don't want to move, and then you put it in the background. Okay, now look at that compared to mine. Okay, it's a little bit blurrier. It's not a huge difference, but to us perfectionists, it's enough to. Here, let me make it bigger. Actually, let's look at it in present mode. It's a noticeable difference. Okay, here is the background image that I snipped, and here is how I did it in my master layout. Okay, it's quite a difference. It's nice and blurry on this one. I don't like it. All right, so instead of doing that, instead of snipping what you want to stay like none of this is moving, they can't move any of it. Okay, instead of doing that, you can put it in you can create a master slide layout. So I'm going to go to View, Master, and actually, let me get rid of this theme first so you can see this. Let me go back. Let me just do a blank theme. Okay, so I'm going to go to View, Master, and show you how I set this up. So in your master view, this you can change how all of your titles, like if you want the same font for all of your titles on all of your slides, you can change it here so that it's not defaulted to Arial. You can change the color. You can change that on any of these as well. But notice how this master is used by all slides. So anything you change on this one, when you make a new slide, those formatting, theme selections that you're making on here are going to apply to every slide. So to create a custom layout, I'm just going to go down to the end here because I do want to keep these different layouts, especially the blank layout. But down here you see I have a bunch of custom layouts that I've already created for this. So just right click and create new layout. Okay, so this creates a custom layout, and that is currently being used by 0 slides because I'm just making it. All right, so first I'm just going to delete this. And what I'm going to do is just show you how I created a custom layout. So first, I'm going to recreate the purple one. So I am just going to change my background image. So I go to background, and then my background is actually just a gradient color, but you can have an image for your background, whatever you want to do. And then just for the video, I've already created all of this stuff, so I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here. And you can do that as well if you have a slide that's already set up and you want to move everything to your master layout, then you can change it and into this, just copy and paste it into your master layout and set it up this way instead. All right, so I am going to change this one just a little bit so I know which one is which. Let's just put this one in here. Make it real monochromatic with the purple on purple. All right, so now what I'm going to do is if that's set up the way I want it to, and what's great about this too is if I need to come in and if I make a mistake or if I just want to add something to my background, I can come into my view, my master layout and change this without having to take a new snip, re-saving it, setting it at the back as the background again. I can just easily go in here quickly and change it. So now I'm going to click back over here to get back out of my master view. And instead of adding a new slide, so if I just click add a new slide, it's going to add a new slide using whatever template for the page I'm on. So for instance, that one, it just made a new purple one. If I'm on the yellow one, it's going to add another slide with that same exact layout as the slide I was on. Okay? But what I'm going to do instead is click on this drop down menu. So if I wanted just a blank slide, I could add that here. But I'm going to go to my new custom layout 6, and I'm going to add that. So you can see even in edit mode, which is what students are going to be in, because I'm going to give them a copy of this, and they, in order to do a drag and drop activity, they have to be in edit mode. They can't do it from present mode. So all of this is going to be locked down so they don't have to worry about accidentally messing up my formatting. And then I'm just going to take my movable pieces. So what they'll do is they'll have a copy of this that they own, and let's do this accurately here. They'll just drag and drop the different pieces to where they go, and then they'll turn that in. I use Google Classroom, so they'll turn it in to me through Google Classroom once they've completed each page and each assignment. So each of these files or slides is like this. There's nothing that's movable except for the pieces that I want them to move. So they can just grab that and drag it into where I've kind of indicated for them to do that. So this is great for drag and drop activities or anything where you want to lock some stuff in the background, but still have stuff that they can move in the foreground. So like writing like journal templates or journal prompts or text boxes that you want them to type in. Just set everything that you want to be static in the background and then place anything on top, in this other view. One other thing that I did want to show you is hyperlinks. So using master slide. If the hyperlink is in the background of the master slide, they have to be in present mode to access it. So any links that you want them to access when they're in edit mode need to be in created in this view. So for instance, I just linked this piece to my website, but you could link it to a video or something, whatever. But if you want them to be able to access it, to click on this link and see that it's hyperlinked when in edit mode, then it needs to be linked from this view. This is linked in my master view. So if I go to view master, I have that hyperlinked in the master instead. Okay, so in order to access that link, I have to be in present mode. And then if I click, you can see my hand goes from or my cursor goes from a pointer to the hand, so I can see that this is going to take me someplace if I click on it. Okay, this also does that, but I could only see this one from edit mode, and I couldn't see this one because it's in the master. So just something to think about when you're creating activities like this where a student may be in edit mode or in present mode, or if you want them to go back and forth or who knows? I don't know. I'm just giving you the options. So that's how hyperlinking works in the master view. If it's in the master slide layout, it has to be in present mode to work. Otherwise, you just link it from your normal setup. So I hope that gives you a better understanding of when you should or shouldn't use transparent shapes and how to use the master slide layout to kind of control what students can do or cannot do when they are getting a copy of an assignment that you want them to interact with, but still lock some stuff down. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer those. And as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when I post new videos. Thanks, guys.